Hi, welcome to Sewing Anastasia. Today we're going to be pattern drafting a pencil skirt because we all know that librarians love to wear pencil skirts. And if you haven't checked out our top 7 favorite books from the Vernon Hills Area Library, make sure you do, and let's make a pencil skirt. Okay, so what we're going to need to make our pencil skirt today is going to be our front and our back basic skirt slopers, and then I'm going to use a bright black Sharpie so that you can see everything I'm tracing, but you should be using a pencil. Our first step is going to be tracing out our center front skirt, and make sure you mark your darts as well. The first thing I'm going to trace out are my darts, so we actually lost our awl, so I'll be using a pin, and you want to mark the dart point with the pin, and then you also want to mark your dart legs. And there are 2 dart legs for every dart. And then you want to lift up your paper, find your little holes you made, and mark them with the Sharpie or your pencil. And now we can trace out the rest of our skirt. Okay, so now that we have the little dots on our paper for our darts, what are we going to do with those? We're basically going to connect the dots. So you want to take your dart point and match it with your dart leg dots. And notice that one of your darts is longer than the other. That's because we have a nice shape to our body as a woman. We are not a straight stick. Okay, so now that we have our front skirt traced out, we actually want to make it longer because we're going to do a midi length pencil skirt. So I measured myself and I want mine to be 29 inches from my waist down. So we're going to measure how long our skirt is, and then we're going to add the extra. So I just need to add a few inches, so you want to make sure you line your ruler up with your center front so it's nice and straight. And then I'm going to measure down, and then I have my mark. And then you're going to use your grid paper, which is awesome, so everything turns out nice and straight. We're basically just going to make a big rectangle extension here. So now once we have that, we actually want to take in the side seam so that way we can create our pencil skirt. Okay, so our next step is going to be finding our hip. So our hip is 9 inches down from our waist. So this here is going to be your hip. And I want to blend, actually let's mark this over on the side. And we want to blend the 2 inches we're taking in into the hip. So it looks really nice. You are going to need your curved ruler to do this. So I am going to take in my 2 inches here. And let's use our bigger ruler. And potentially so this is what's going to create our pencil. So this is what we're going to end up cutting off. Okay, so our last step to our front skirt is going to be adding the seam allowance. You're going to add seam allowance on the waist, the side seam, and the hem. So the hem's going to add 1 inch, and the side seam and the top waist are going to be a 1/2 inch. Make sure you don't add anything to center front because you're going to open up your pattern so that you have a full skirt in the front. Okay, so you're going to use your 2-inch clear ruler to measure out your 1/2 inch all the way around the waist. Looks like I ran out of a little paper there. It's okay. Go back and add some. And now you're going to do a 1/2 inch on your side seam. Notice that I'm moving the ruler as I go, so that way I make sure the blue line on the ruler is always lined up with my pattern line. Okay, I'm going to add 1 inch to the hem. We're going to extend our center front. And there we go. Now we have our seam allowance on our center front skirt. Okay, so our next step for our front skirt is going to be cutting it out. Okay, so I cut it out. You're wondering why didn't I cut out on the center front? That's because I need to tape more paper to it and open up this pattern so that we have a front skirt. Okay, so now I'm going to trace out the back. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did to the front. We're going to transfer the darts, we're going to make the pattern longer, and we're going to take it 2 inches in at the bottom, curving all the way up to our hip. So let's do it. So we're going to mark those darts again with our little dots. And we're going to trace the outside. And I would love to see all of your guys' projects that you're working on. So you can send me photos to my email, you can tag me on Instagram. Feel free to get a hold of me any which way. And if you ever have any questions of any projects you're working on too, feel free to reach out to me, even if it's not one of the videos that we've went over. So now we're going to draw in our darts. And then we want to mark down our 9 inches for our hip. And then I'm going to make sure that my skirt is the 28 inches from my waist. So my ruler is 24. Five, 6, 7, 28. And right here. We're going to square up on center back. There we go. And let's take 2 inches in the side seam. That's our long ruler. There we go, and now all we need to do is add our seam allowance. Woohoo! Now we're done with our back, we're done with our front, and you can choose what kind of waistband or no waistband or a facing. I'm going to do a 1-inch waistband, and we'll go over that next. Okay, so our skirts are done. We're going to make our waistband. So you're going to need to know your waist measurement. Mine is 26 inches, so my length is going to be 26 inches, and my width, I want it finished 1 inch, so we're going to make it 2 inches wide, and then we'll add seam allowance to everything. And my ruler is 24 inches, so I'm just going to mark that, and then I'm going to measure over the additional. About 26. And then I love this quilting ruler because I can literally just line up the 2 inches and draw it in. Okay, so now for our seam allowance, you're going to want a 1/2 inch on all sides. And I actually ran out of paper down here, so I'm just going to add 1 inch to the other ends. And I'm going to write waistband, cut oneself on it, and now we can cut it out. There we go, now we have our waistband. Okay, so you should have your 3 pattern pieces done. You should have your front skirt, your back skirt, and your waistband. And now we have our midi length pencil skirt. So I hope you enjoyed pattern drafting today, and now you can be a sexy librarian too. Thanks for watching Sewing Anastasia today. I hope you had fun pattern drafting your pencil skirt. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you right away. And if you liked our video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so that way you can watch all of our other awesome videos coming out.